Thanks, guys. Good evening. It's so cold in here, to be honest. All right. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Tomy Tjokro from MNC World News, and those are my team over there. We just started last year, and it's been great because MNC World News is actually the first English news channel in Indonesia, and basically we love to share about Indonesia in our own perception to overseas, and we're starting to go on air by streaming to Europe already. Just started 2 months ago, and now it's. I think most people think that being a news anchor is someone who just in front of camera, reading the teleprompter, and that's it. It looks easy, but to be honest, it's not. It's actually hard, but in my profession, I would like to share first from my industry. Can I start the slide there, please? Not this one. Okay, the image and reality. Okay, let's go on to the next one, please. Okay, this is basically news anchor. A man or a woman in front of camera, and you can see on the top left there, that's where we roll the topic, and then the visual will take over and go back to the anchor and go to the next story. Like I said, we read something, all the material from the teleprompter. On the camera there, all the written is over there on the camera, and we just read them. Looks so easy, but you know, the idea of being a news anchor is the ability to tell the story. So we don't start, when we hired by a company, any kind of TV stations, we are not going to start for being an anchor straight away. We have to start from the field. So can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, this is, okay. Or, if you see all these events, this is where we start basically. We go on the field with our camera person and then with a driver. And after that, we find the sources, we get the news, we get the story. We write it, we send it to the office, and the producer will choose whether it's which program will air the material and which story that is actually suitable for the show. So basically, this is what we do for a start, to be a reporter. So what's the difference between news anchor and presenter is, we are journalists, we are journalists. We are not presenter, we have to be a journalist. So there are no standards about how long do we have to be a reporter on the field before we go on to the next stage as being an anchor. Sometimes they can just 1 year, 2 years, or maybe more, probably after 5 years. It depends your ability and how far will you go, and also it depends on the editor-in-chief or the producer trust your ability to be the news anchor. Next slide, please. Next, okay. So this is the field team. The top left, that's when I was in Padang. That was in, I think 2008, if I'm not mistaken, when the huge earthquake happened. So the good thing about this profession is you can go anywhere you want. You can travel around, you can get the story, and you'll be the first one to be someone who tell the story to the public. That's the goal of this profession. But also, it's a big responsibility. So we have to be accurate. We cannot, make it more dramatic about the story. We have to be truthful. We have to be honest. But also, we have to tell it fast. This is what competition began. As fast as you can, as accurate as you can. So the tools is The weapon is the camera, the mic, and sometimes the lighting. So that is where you can learn about visual, and that's where you can learn how to tell a story. The next one, please. This is what I mentioned. You can go anywhere you like. You can go to the palace. You can go to the Liverpool, Anfield. You can go to the Raja Ampat. You can go to Edinburgh. You can go to White House. It depends. If you're interested into international news, you can go to international division. If you're more into politics, local politics, or immediate politics, you can join the politics team. Or you can go to sports teams if you really love sports. It's all in your hand. Next time, and next slide, the doorstep. This is the next job that we should do. Not only to get the story, we have to find the information from the right source. So you have to learn to interview people. You have to learn to socialize more. From either tukang baso, tukang pempek, or tukang sate ayam, to someone higher, like president, like ministers. It depends on your story. So by using your card as being a reporter, you can go in any kind of buildings to get your story. The next one, please. And this is the kitchen. This is where we cook it. You can see, this is the newsroom, and this is the control room. So basically, when the reporters send the material, there's an editor, there's a producer, associate producers. They're the ones who actually cook your story and make it really look good on TV. So people can understand the information and also your mission to educate people, to give you the right information. Next one, please. And this is the studio. This is where you actually see from the telly. This is where the teleprompter. This is where we read the material. All the written story, they're all there. There's a pedal, there's a remote to control it, to go up and down. You just read it from there. But still, the key is how to tell it like as you're telling a story, not like you read them. If you read them, it's obvious. You're reading a book. You're reading a paper. Like back then, in the TVRI era, we don't have teleprompter, we have papers. So sometimes they memorize the first line and after that you read them. But now since we have teleprompter, you just read from the camera. The next one, please. I think that's the last one, okay. So basically, back to what Adele and Michael, right? What you did there, it's great. Can we give applause to them? You're 17, right? 17, 16?
I'm actually 22.
Really, 22?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I look young, that's it.
Good on you. So basically, when I was 17, when I was 22, back then I didn't have anything in my mind to drive me to any career. Back then I just finished my college years, and the only thing I can that I have in my mind is being a banker, being an accountant. That's what I learned. I graduated from advanced diploma of accounting, and after that the bachelor degree of marketing. But then something happened in 2003. I joined this competition called MTV Vijayan. And at that time, I was in my holiday break, and I was in Surabaya, that's where I came from. And then I was in a mall, and there's a roadshow of MTV Vijayan in a mall, in one mall. I think, if I'm not mistaken, is TP. What's TP? Tunjungan Plaza, exactly. TP1 back then, 2003. And my sister asked me, hey, come on, you love music, you love movie, just go on the stage and do it. And I was like, no, why would I do that? I'm not that brave to do what you did before, to be honest. But I love music very much. I really love movies. I watched so many movies in my college years and concerts. But I tried it anyway, and then suddenly somebody called me up after a couple months from Jakarta that I was actually one of the finalists. And that's how I met VJ Daniel. I think you all know who VJ Daniel is. And Daniel was, he won a competition. I actually just one of the finalists from Surabaya. But that is when I fell in love with broadcasting. And that's where I actually see, I saw all the process from the zero, from the field until we see it on TV. That's how. So after that, I was like thinking, okay, what's next? I don't want to be a banker anymore. I don't want to be an accountant anymore. I don't want to be a marketer anymore. But I love to see people. I love to talk to people. I love to hang out. What can I do? So at that time, I was 25 already. And I told my parents, I think I want to try to do, I want to move on to the next career. And my dad asked me, what? Being a journalist. Why? Because basically, being a journalist is not something that you like to get if you want to get so much money. No, I have to be honest with you. If you want to be rich, don't be a journalist. But it's different. That's where I learned so much about information, about any kind of sectors, any kind of industries. I met a lot of people. I learned how to tell the right story, the right person. And the key of being a journalist is I want to educate people more so people can understand this country more. Even though some parts, basically in several companies, they have their own mission, but basically information is something that is essential for us, right? You watch news? Who watch news here? That's not a lot. Do you? Okay, sometimes. Well, that's good. But that's where I came from. I mean, I learned in 2003 to be a reporter, and I gave myself a time. Okay, Tommy, if you only survive for 1 year, and then you feel bored about your job, then you have to move. But after a year, I stayed. After 2 years, I stayed. And then 3 years, 4 years, until I reached 10 years, and now more than 13 years now, I already in news division. Basically, what I like is all the process. And yes, the key is being able to talk in front of people is where I learned from the news department, where I learned how to do live report. That's where I learned how to speak in front of people. Because basically when you do live report on the field, a lot of people there, you have to be, focus on your story. And let me tell you one story when I first did it. It's in 2004, I was in Chikeas back then. Chikeas, 4 a.m. in the morning. And everybody was there. The senior journalist was there. They're just waiting for SBY to come out from his house to go to the palace. But you know what? Back then I was like, okay, I can do this. And then my boss said, okay, come at 5 a.m. You have to be ready for 5 minutes to tell everything about it there. So I was like, okay, I just take out my notes. I put like 1, there's not so many people here. 2, it's too early, so there are only few cars there. 3, SBY and his family still at home. I don't know what they do there. 4, we're planning to go out at 5:30 to go to the palace. And I have 5 minutes to tell those points. So okay, I get ready, the camera already in front of me, and then the anchor from the studio just talked to my ear like, okay, we have Tomy Tjokro in Chikeas to tell us more. So Tommy, what's going on there? I freeze. So you're good. But still, I did my practice, but back then I freeze. I froze, sorry, I froze. I couldn't say anything there. So I just read my notes. Those 5 points represent for 5 minutes. Can you imagine that? It was really embarrassing. And I just say, okay, I'm Tomy Tjokro signing off, and back to you now. My producer, he was mad. If you do this again for the next live report, I will send you off and I get another one to come. I was like, okay, this is awful. So at that time, I promised to myself, okay, this is the last time I do this. I just prepared everything on my note. I wrote everything there. So basically, I memorized the first part, the first line, and when the camera rolled with the visuals, I just read them. That's the trick for a start. But after that, I have to learn how to tell a story, how to structure them, how to put in the beginning, the story, and the end, how to make it interesting, how to tell a story according to your eyes, because people need to know from your eyes, from your perception. So basically, this is the business about audio visual. Not only I wasted so much time there for 5 days by telling nothing, I need to tell everything. I cannot just stay on silence. We call it dead air. You have to keep talking. So basically that's how I learned it. I keep practicing until I found the key to talk more, to chat more in front of people. But again, back to the slides that I just showed you before. If you love to travel, if you love to, kepo? If you're kepo, then you are in the right path to be a journalist. If you're, you have that thirst to know more about any kind of information, you have to be a journalist. Be the first one to tell the public. That would be really, really great. And then again, you can travel, man. You can travel around. You can go to Mecca. You can go to Jerusalem. You can go to Papua. Tell us about tourism. Tell us about what's going on with Jokowi. So this is the key. So after that, you can get the essence out of your job. You can be a speaker. You can teach. Then maybe that's where you can get more money from, if I may say something like that. But basically, this is what we do. We don't just go in the studio, put a makeup on, and then just read the news. That's not news anchor. We have to start from the bottom. So the key of all of this is when you choose your path, just do something that you really, 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 really love. I fell in love with broadcasting, but when I was smaller, when I was 5 years old, I really wanted to be a pilot back then. But sometimes you just shifted and you found your own path. So that's basically what you should do. Don't just listen to other people like this is good for you. No, what's good for you? If you love it, just do it. That's the key. So I think I have enough time. I think it's too long already. No, go on. Okay, let me sing. Where's the guitar? So okay, after this, you will, these amazing people will tell you more about their industry. So basically, if you love something, just do it, and you'll be the best. That's it.